sisters, alive in from the garden. Saigon, it's now. They labeled me as Rodney Josephson, so that's what I'm using. So today's episode from this beautiful garden here in wonderful Vietnam. Unified conscious universe, the center. And so we'll get into it. I have made a play on words here through spelling. Now, gnosis, Gnosticism. To know is to see, and to see is to know. All is one. One is all. So when you have become aware or conscious of this idea of the self, of the being you are, then you will get my idea here. So I have a consciousness. So I'm a conscious that I exist. And this represents the pineal gland with the third eye in there. You know, I got two eyes here and I got the third one up here. Now, it's a receiver. This is where I get my so-called inner wisdom. And then the discernment is the next process of figuring out what what it means. So, you know, it comes in, and or the message comes, and then I broadcast what I know or discern back outward. Yes. So the question then would be, what am I? Well, I am what exists in the now. And so that would basically mean my essence of awareness, that I am conscious of this being, you know, the truth. What else could there be? And this would then lead into the unified field. I mean, I am radiating my energy, my unique fingerprint, if you want to call it that, of what I am. And then it then will produce a result in my field, whether it's repulsive or attractive. People are repulsed or they're attracted. And the ones that have no distinction, then maybe they're just not there. Anyhow, it is what it is. It always is what it is. Well, it depends on how you want to respond to it. So this would be the general idea of what I'm talking about. Now, once knowing this, you are then expanding your forever expansion. Expand ions. Your energy field is ever expanding, or your consciousness of what things are, or what it is or isn't. And then you would discern what is or how it works, and then continue to do something with it, or then move along, let it be. So if we want to move from this central idea, remember, to know is to see, and to see is to know in Gnosticism. So I have the void. The void is that space between something and nothing, and then back to something, or a sense of being something. It's the same as, like in a movie, you go from one scene to the next as a space. When you're doing something or thinking something, and all of a sudden something else pops into your mind, there's a space between that, perhaps. Now, I've become aware that the void exists as well. I mean, I know I'm in a void because I'm observing the void between possibilities from one side to the next, or the next step, or however you would like to think about that. So if I'm in bed and I fall asleep, I go into the void, of that blank nothingness, and then I'm in a dream. And then I step out of the dream, so-called, and I'm in waking up in the so-called this next dream of this so-called reality that we, this loving, awesome reality we're in now. So it's a transition from this to this to that. And the more you become aware of this, the more you become more in control, in a sense. Just the sense of it exists. You're observing it from the back. You know that this exists here. You know that the void exists here, and you know that exists. So you're observing that these all exist within your internal sense of awareness, or your unified connectedness field of consciousness, I suppose, if you look at it that way. Now, I put like a time travel. In a sense, this is you're traveling from one moment to the next. Now, what consists in this context, and then in the void of nothingness, which is something, because it has to be something to be nothing, and nothing has to be, nothing must also exist for something to exist. It's inherently together. But in a sense, there's a shutting off and turning on between each stage. But it doesn't, it's not there's substance, in a sense, in all of it. It's just different senses of awareness, of consciousness, of these points of transition, let's say. So I have transition. Transit, ion. Ions are transiting into some other form, into another place and time. And it's all, of course, it's all in you, because where else would it be, right? Can't be over there. Some people might think it's over there, but it's all must radiate, emanate, or come from within for you to figure that one out. So, I'll just give a brief example of, we have the New Year's Eve in man's world. They have it runs on a clock, a 365-day, 12-month calendar, and it's midnight, blah blah. It's a financial and it's a financial transition point, as well as a controlling point from one thing to the next. But that's a linear kind of concept. You have the past, the moment it changed to the so-called future. So that in a way is kind of a trap. And every year it happens at the same time, and you get millions or billions of people all focusing on that moment, and they're thinking past and then the future, but they don't have the center, which is the now. I mean, if you didn't have the now, then neither the future or the past would exist, would it? So it's skipping that thing. So everyone's getting intoxicated and having a good time, and they're all praising an illusionary fixed thing that someone has created for them all to join in together. So it's skipping over all of this idea. And it's a trap. So, again, this is the center of existence. You have the left arm and the right arm, but it's got to be fixed to the center, doesn't it? And the center is, the so-called, you have the spine, we're talking in the physical sense. So you have the spine and you have the brain and so forth. It all coexist in the body of one. Now you just magnify or multiply that, or multiply it, but expand it to all things, or it operates on the same principle. The universe, the one, uni means one, and verse is like rhythm or harmony or rhythm or flow. So you are the center of your being, wherever that is. There isn't positioning or time. That's just a man's world. We get time and position and all that. It's the center of. I mean, this is the center. This is my center here. You can't. It's not over there. It's right here, now. That is the center. And it's not. I'm not being selfish or conceited, but it is true. It's the center for my being in this ever expansive universe, or possibilities of everything that exists. And so basically, what am I? I am this essence of consciousness, of awareness, of being this, this being of energy, and then I can therefore, play many roles and do my thing. I get some information, all of a sudden I'm, emitting that idea, that energy out, or through language or symbols or whatever, or I start singing or write music or whatever. So that's the creativeness coming out of the inspiration or the information that has come in, because the world is without. And of course, the world is as it is. And in the next video, I'll get to that point. So basically, that's what I'm saying, is that this is it. This is it. I mean, that's it. This space around me is all that exists. That within my being and sense of awareness as that this is it. There are no walls. Oh yeah, here there are walls because I'm in a box, an apartment building. But in the sense of energy or consciousness, this is all a so-called illusionary boxing, fake lines that you're trying to define something. But this is the physical world. So to say that this is not here, is to say it's an illusion. Well, it is in a sense, but you must deal with the physical things in this reality, which are there for the reason it's there. It was formed and created as it is. So if I want to punch the wall, well, I will exchange energy into that wall, and that wall will also exchange energy into me. Now, who's going to win? I don't know. But I think ultimately you'll find out when you do it. But again, since you are an eternal being, it won't matter anyway. You might suffer a little pain or pleasure. Some people like pain. So who's to say what is good or bad? But there is an inherent evil or an inherent good. You can lift your brothers and sisters out of the abyss, or you can trap them into a perpetual negative, prison. So I'm here to, just to let you know that that's what it is, and preferably getting you out of that prison, because I'm just talking to myself, also getting myself out of that externalized, that external thing that's operating because of various reasons from me, and also not from me. Again, we're all co-creating things in a certain sense. So you get involved or you don't. So basically, that's what I'm going to summarize, is that it all comes from within, because the world is without. So I'll end it on that. you unify yourself and you know your, you know, essence and awareness of consciousness, and then you can separate yourself from, you know, all these distractions that are going around, which are most likely a lot of it fake. You know, they're generated just to make you get trapped. So anyway, we'll end it on that one. This is like my fourth take because of iPhone overheating in this wonderful weather here. So seek within, because the world's without, brothers and sisters. Alive from the garden. It's now. Ciao. Oh yeah, oh yeah.